Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. Today we're continuing our look at the Project A-Spec cars with the 1995 Mercedes-Benz Lotec C1000. One of the many sides of the Project A-Spec mod is of course concept cars and one-offs and weird boutique supercars, and this fits all three of those. What this is was a concept produced by Lotec, with help from Mercedes in terms of the engine in around 1995. It was very crazy and they sold it to someone, not the Sultan of Brunei. It's an actual collector who still has hold of this to this day. It is a truly incredible looking thing. It looks very bizarre from the front, absolutely incredible from the side, and a very 90s concept car from the rear. It is a very fantastic piece of machinery and a car that scares me a lot because this is one of the very few cars in this game that has a power to weight ratio which is more in favor of power. So yeah, this is probably going to be a disaster to drive, but it'll be fun at least. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive, 991 horsepower, 961 kilograms. It's also one of the very few cars that very nearly pushes 1,000 horsepower, and I think in A-Spec there is actually quite a few more cars that do push that mythical 1,000 horsepower than just the drag cars in the base game. In case you're wondering, that means this has the same power as our current leader, which is of course the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak version. That car set a time of a 25.696. This car is unlikely to beat that because it's not four-wheel drive. In terms of A-Spec cars, the quickest car was the J-Lock Lamborghini, which by the looks of that first lap time on a very scruffy lap is probably going to be dethroned in this episode once again. Now, in terms of this car, I do have to say I am very surprised by how this drives. I was expecting this to be an absolute mess trying to get the power down. It actually gets the power down okay. The front end though is not particularly grippy. I want to imagine it's because it's mid-engine, so there's not really a lot of weight going on for the front end, and that does affect this in two separate ways. One, of course, that does mean understeer wise not great. It also means the brakes are not particularly pushing down as much as you'd sort of hope they would be in a car like this. So that is ultimately, I think, going to play a bit of part in the undoing of this car. But I am amazed by how much it sort of stays under control for a car like this, with this much power, this much sort of interestingness going on. It is remarkable how much sort of rear end grip this has. In 200 horsepower Lotus Elises, the rear end lets go, it turns into a snuff movie. In this, it's not so bad. Of course, being in the air there does mean the brakes are affected somewhat. And yeah, there we go. We've got to finally let go of the rear end. We have one more lap though. 171 kilometers an hour on that fastest lap. I think that is quicker than what we got out of the Scudo. So yeah, I mean, in terms of raw speed, obviously no one is doubting the credentials of this car. If you need to get somewhere quick, there really is not going to be many more cars that get there as quick as the Lotec C1000. In terms of getting to where you want to go, not sweating profusely, there are definitely more comfortable alternatives out there. 28.056. Yeah, we'll take that. That was not a fun vehicle. Well, I mean, it was fun, obviously. Could have gone a little bit quicker, quite probably. Do I want to drive that again? Absolutely not. Not unless it's around test course and not around a go-kart track. What a fantastic looking thing that is. I can imagine the splits on this are going to be all over the place, and they are. Yeah, obviously don't really pay much attention to lap 5 because that sector 1 is wildly quick. I definitely think there is a 27 in this, to be honest, but it won't come easy, and yeah, it's going to be quite frustrating to try and get to that. So, interesting vehicle. Like I say, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm very surprised by how nice it was to drive, and yet still absolutely petrified of ever trying to drive that again. Anyways, a 28.056 will place this into 32nd place. Goes in between the Honda NSX Raybrig GT500, which is the quickest GT500 car I think we had, apart from the Titan Viper, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 5 rally car. It is quicker than the Vector M12 LM edition, quicker than the Ford GT40 race car, quicker than the Ford RS200, quicker than the Ford GT40 road car, quicker than the Ford GT90. Which is very interesting. It is slightly slower than the Roof BTR4 3.8, the Nissan R390 GT1 road car, the Roof CTR2 Sport, and that is pretty much it, to be honest. It's only 0.15 second off being the quickest non-race mod car we've ever had. So, yeah, very, very quick car, very terrifying to drive, and, yeah, interesting to say the least. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I'll be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.